Was an underground city of giants discovered in the Grand Canyon? In the early 1900s, G.E. Kincaid was journeying down the Colorado River in a wooden boat alone looking for mineral. He was some 42 miles up the river from the El Tovar Crystal Canyon. When on the east wall of the canyon, Kincaid spotted stains in the sedimentary formation. They were located approximately 2,000 feet above the riverbed. There were no trails leading up to the location, but after a long hike, he finally made it to his destination. And much to his surprise, he discovered the mouth of a cave that was being hidden by a rock shelf so you couldn't see it from the river. As he approached the entrance, Kincaid noticed steps that led 30 yards down the side of the canyon. He concluded that where these steps ended must have been the water level at the time these caves were last inhabited. As he'd make his way into the entrance, he'd notice hieroglyphs on the walls. These markings would pique his curiosity, so he decided to enter the cavern. During this first trip, he went several hundred feet into the main passage, until stumbling upon a crypt where he'd discover mummies, one of which he'd stand up, illuminate with his flashlight, and snap a picture. After gathering a number of relics, Kincaid would make his way back down the Colorado River to Yuma. From there, he sent the relics to Washington, explaining his discovery. This is when the Smithsonian would get involved and explorations would be undertaken. The main passageway was around 12 feet wide, but it would narrow to 9 feet towards the end of it. 57 feet from the entrance is where the first side passages would branch off. On both sides there were a number of rooms about the size of an ordinary living room today, but some of the said rooms were almost 30 by 40 feet. These rooms had oval-shaped doors and were ventilated by round air spaces that went through the walls into the passages. These were believed to be the living quarters. The walls of the rooms were about 3 feet 6 inches in thickness. The tunnels were carved as straight and perfect as any engineer could plan. 100 feet from the entrance was the cross hall, which ran several hundred feet. It is here they would discover the idol, or the people's god, sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. The cast of the face seems oriental in origin, and it was carved by a very good hand. It is said that the attire is very well preserved, as was everything in the cavern at the time. Surrounding the idol were smaller ones, some beautiful in form, others depicting crooked necks and distortion, most likely representing good and evil. On the other end of the cross hall were tools and weapons made of copper. It's obvious these people knew the lost art of hardening such a metal. This method today is still sought by chemists and smiths. Along with these artifacts, they discover unique hieroglyphs, images like the ones you see here, depicting what seems to be a much larger human being handling a smaller one. Watch part 2 for more.